I now continue with the inserts for the second day of Rosh Hashanah that are omitted on the first day of Rosh Hashanah because of Shabbat. So we will continue. We'll go back to the beginning of the Musaf Amidah. On page 135, we continue with the part of the Musaf Amidah that includes the shofar service. Sarah, that was all wrong. I'm in the silent Amidah, which is why I got confused. So, I'm going to start again. On the first day of Rosh Hashanah, there are certain parts of the service that are omitted due to Shabbat. In this video, I will include those elements of the Musaf Amidah that were omitted because of Shabbat. Since I'm alone in the sanctuary, but I'm with all of you, no one will be calling out the shofar calls, but you can follow along with me on page 158 for all of the sounding of the shofar and for some of the special songs that are said on Rosh Hashanah when it is not Shabbat. Today, the world stands as at birth. Today, all creation is called to judgment, whether as your children or as your servants. If, as your children, be compassionate with us, as a parent is compassionate with children. If, as your servants, we look to you expectantly, waiting for you to be gracious to us, and as day emerges from night, to bring forth a favorable judgment on our behalf, awe-inspiring and Holy One. Areshet sifateinu yerav lefanecha el ram v'nisa. Areshet sifateinu yerav lefanecha el ram v'nisa. Mevinu mazin mabitu makshiv lekol tekiyatenu. Utikabel brachamim berachamim uvratzon seder malchuyoteinu. We now continue on page 162. We focus with this shofar blowing on the concept of remembrance. You have always remembered that which has been forgotten, for there is no forgetting in your realm. So on this day, in your great mercy, remember the binding of Isaac for the sake of his descendants. Baruch atah Adonai, who remembers the covenant. Baruch atah Adonai, zocher habrit. Today the world stands as at birth. Today all creation is called to judgment, whether as your children or as your servants. If as your children, be compassionate with us, as a parent is compassionate with children. If as your servants, we look to you expectantly, waiting for you to be gracious to us, and as day emerges from night, bring forth a favorable judgment on our behalf, awe-inspiring and Holy One. Areshet sifatenu yerav lefanecha el ram v'nisa. Areshet sifatenu yerav lefanecha el ram v'nisa. Mevinu mazin mabitu makshiv lekol tekiyatenu utekabel brachamim berachamim uvratzon. Seder zichronoseinu. We now turn to page 166. For you hear the sound of the shofar and attend to its splintered call. You are beyond compare. Baruch atah Adonai, who listens with compassion to the sounds of the splintered call of your people Israel. Ki ata shomea kol shofar, umazin trua ve'ein domeh lach. Baruch atah Adonai, shomea kol truat amo Yisrael berachamim. Today the world stands as at birth. Today all creation is called to judgment, whether as your children or as your servants. If as your children, be compassionate with us, as a parent is compassionate with children. If as your servants, we look to you expectantly, waiting for you to be gracious to us, and as day emerges from night, bring forth a favorable judgment on our behalf, awe-inspiring and Holy One. Areshet sifatenu yerav lefanecha el ram v'nisa. Areshet sifatenu yerav lefanecha el ram v'nisa. Mevinu mazin mabitu makshiv lekol tekiyatenu utekabel brachamim Brachamim uvratzon seder shofroteinu. The one other section of the service that is often omitted on the second day of Rosh Hashanah is in the beginning of the Torah service. We recite the 13 midot. So the 13 attributes of God that describe how compassionate God is, and the fact that God is nosei avon, that God carries our sin for us in an act of love and mercy. On page 97, you can join me to hear these words that are so iconic and remind us so much of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and all the days of awe. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Notzer Chesed La'alafim, Nosei Avon V'Fesha, V'Chata V'Nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Notzer Chesed La'alafim, Nosei Avon V'Fesha, V'Chata V'Nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Notzer Chesed La'alafim, Nosei Avon V'Fesha, V'Chata V'Nakeh. Ani tefilati, tefilati, lecha, Adonai, et ratzon, Elohim, v'rov chasdecha, aneni, aneni, be'emet ishecha. Ani tefilati, tefilati, lecha Adonai, et ratzon, Elohim berov chasdecha, aneni, aneni, be'emet ishecha. V'ani tefilati, tefilati, lecha Adonai, et ratzon, Elohim berov chasdecha, aneni, aneni, be'emet ishecha. The final hymn of Rosh Hashanah is Hayom. So you can join me on page 170 for this great hymn. Usually Mel sings it. Hopefully this year I can do it well enough. Hayom, 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 Hayom Tamseinu, Amen. Hayom, 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 Hayom Tivarcheinu, Amen. Hayom, 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 Hayom Tigadleinu, Amen. Hayom, 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 Hayom Tidrashenu Litova. Amen. Hayom, 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 tichtavenu lechaim tovim. Amen. Hayom, 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 tikabel barachamim uvratzon et tefilatenu. Amen. Hayom, 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 tishma shavatenu. Amen. Hayom, 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 titmechenu bimin sidkecha. Amen. So today is the birthday of the world. You are with me, even through this video, even through the internet. As I was davening, I really know who was watching with me. It's a small enough community. I know who you are. And in my mind and in my heart, you were sitting in the sanctuary with me. May this year be an auspicious year, a year of sweetness and of gladness. And may this Rosh Hashanah be a new start where we can return to our better selves. We conclude with Ein Keloheinu. Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kimalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mich Eloheinu, Mich Adonenu, Mich Malkeinu, Mich Moshienu. Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Malkeinu, Nodel Moshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu, Atahu Shiktiru Avotenu, Lefanecha et Ketoret Hasami. All right, everybody, Shana Tova, and we will see you in person or online for Yom Kippur.